The People's Brewery. The story of Mr. Theodore Mack Sr. Mr. Theodore Mack Sr. was a leader of CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality. He served on multiple civil rights organizations and led a group to the 1963 March on Washington. Mr. Theodore Mack Sr. was the first African American to own and operate an American craft brewery called People's Brewery. Mr. Mack was a former product supervisor at Pabst Brewery with a dream to launch America's first black brewery, and he did. People's Brewery in Oshkosh made history in 1970 as the first African-American-owned brewery. A group of black businessmen from Milwaukee bought it with a vision to grow the People's brand into new markets such as African-American neighborhoods in Milwaukee and Gary, Indiana. Unfortunately, the locals were not in favor of the new owners and discontinued their patronage. With the aim of acquiring the Blatz brand from Pabst in 1969 after it was forced to be sold by the federal government, Mack brought together some investors, which he named United Black Enterprises. People's Brewery was founded in Oshkosh in 1912 by Bavarian-born Joseph J. Nagel. People's ranked 10th among the 14 breweries in Wisconsin at the time. People's should not be confused with the current brewer, People's, located in Lafayette, Indiana. They decided on People's Brewery in Oshkosh because the location was close to Milwaukee and the physical plant was in good shape. On October 10, 1970, a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held at the brewery to commemorate the change in ownership. Speaking before a crowd of approximately 2,000, Mack expressed his thanks for the outpouring of support. In these days of confrontation, you make a pretty picture standing there, black, white, and brown, he said. All the stockbrokers said it wasn't possible to sell the stock. 5 weeks after the sale started, you made it possible to buy this brewery. Mack and Company made a deal to buy People's for a reported $365,000 plus another $70,000 for inventory, and Henry S. Crosby, spokesman for the group, explained its importance to the Milwaukee Courier. There are no other black breweries anywhere in the U.S., and hardly any black businesses of this size. It's important because, 1, it will place blacks in decision-making position, and 2, offer stock to the members of the black community as soon as the mechanism is set up. Our next task is to integrate our employment in Oshkosh and Milwaukee, Mack told a local newspaper in November 1970. We have no white employees here and no black employees in Oshkosh. We're going to have to change that. Always looking ahead, People's tried to get lucrative contracts to supply beer to the military, and in June 1971 Mack announced plans to expand operations into Indiana. Although 24,000 shares of stock remained unsold, the beer was already being distributed to Milwaukee, Madison, Racine, Kenosha, Sheboygan, and northern Chicago. Now, they focused on distributing to retailers in Gary. In November 1971, People's bought the 107-year-old Oshkosh Brewing Company and its chief Oshkosh, Badger, and Rar brands. But things were not going down all that smoothly, and as Governor Pat Lucey declared that People's was one of the really shining examples of minority capitalism in the U.S., the brewery, which was turning out 1,800 barrels of beer per month, was struggling. Everywhere we go, he was quoted in one newspaper, we run into the white power structure. Mack stated. Mack told the Star, the whites are saying that they don't want no N-word beer. 1972 marked the closure of People's. This was due to a combination of factors such as racism, financial issues, and problems associated with the company's overambitious expansions. Despite this unfortunate ending, People's set an inspiring example through their determination and success. Even in the present day, craft beer has a huge diversity issue with only 1% of breweries being black-owned, as reported by the Brewers Association in 2019. After the passing of Mac in 2019, Peoples has become a symbol of rebirth for both the brand and the Mac family, aiding them in navigating through this new phase of their journey. Mr. Mac's historic achievements helped pave the way for future minority business owners. The revival of Peoples Beer is particularly important today as it gives hope to the community for what is possible. Peoples Beer is currently distributed in the Sacramento area with plans to further its reach in the coming months. On August 28, 2020 in Sacramento, California Oak Park Brewing Company released Peoples Beer to honor the legacy of Mr. Theodore Mack Sr. They agreed to brew the beer using the original recipe. Oak Park Brewing partnered with Mr. Ted Mack II to create this historic collaboration. Mr. Mack II says the family is overjoyed by the Peoples Beer collaboration being a continuation of their legacy. Peoples Beer is a light, crisp lager you can drink year-round. Peoples Beer will be distributed throughout the Sacramento area with plans to further its reach in the coming months. Mr. Mack II said his father brewed Peoples Beer for all people. Peoples Beer is not a black beer or a white beer. It's a Peoples Beer. Oak Park Brewing mission is to get Peoples Beer to the people.